Today we will do a macro update on the markets, including the S&P, Bitcoin, Total 3, USDT dominance, and the dollar. So stay tuned. Now, this is the S&P 500, yeah? And the truth is, I cannot call a top on this thing, at least for now. I don't have any data or, analysis to suggest that the S&P has topped. I have no analysis for that. Now, we did forecast the S&P right from this level right here, somewhere around 3,800, 3,900. We were forecasting that the S&P is going to go as high as 4,300 to 4,600, and it topped right there. The S&P came back down to this level right here, and we still forecasted that the S&P is going to go back as high as this level right here. Now, I have no analysis to suggest that the S&P has stopped. Yeah, I don't think, well, not that I don't think, I simply have no analysis to prove that the S&P is just going to nuke down like so. Note that I don't just assume that it's going to be like so, it's going to be like so. No, I need some analysis that I can test with its past to suggest that, all right, what we are seeing right now is this type of formation, and usually it would end up like so. It does not mean that it will always be that way. It's just that it's something that you would have backtested, yeah? And I have nothing to suggest that it has topped. However, I do have some analysis to suggest that it can go as high as 5,400 and even 5,900. The highest my analysis can suggest for the S&P is somewhere between 6,800 to 6,900. That is the highest that my analysis can suggest for the S&P 500. Until we hit any of these levels, I will not have an immediate reason to believe that it has topped. Now, this is the dollar. Yeah, and if we zoom out to the monthly time frame, I want to zoom out to the monthly real quick here and show you something. So if we zoom out to the monthly right here, you will see that the dollar has been having some resistance at these levels right here. This is something that I made a video about some time ago. I was making a lot of updates on this. The dollar had some resistance here, which we finally broke out from, but we built this ascending channel right here. So this is something that, you could actually use for the bullish case. You could suggest that this will ultimately bring the dollar back to the downside, and that will be bullish for all markets. But ascending channels do not necessarily mean that they are going to break to the downside, because ascending channels also constitute of higher lows and higher highs, which are actually bullish. So when you see an ascending channel, don't just conclude that it's going to break to the downside. But it's a warning sign showing you that there is a possibility of that. So as we narrow back down to the weekly time frame right here, there is a chance that the dollar goes as high as this level right here. These are just probabilities. But we can actually see that this thing is beginning to create lower highs, which I would not say is a bullish event. So I would actually be rooting for it to come as low as this 95% level right here. And if I take my Fibonacci from this low to the high right there, it would actually tie with the 0.786. So that would be what I would be expecting to happen with the dollar. There is no saying if it will break when it does come to this level right here. When it does come here, we will have to watch out to see what happens then. On the monthly here, we can also see that the stochastic is undervalued. So yeah, that's a warning sign as well. But again, we will see what happens. This is a warning sign actually, because if you even look back as far back as here, it was also undervalued, and this thing shot up like so. If you look here, undervalued, shot up like so. Look here, undervalued, shot up like so. This is one of the reasons why I was making a video the other time telling you about some warning signs with USDT dominance. Yeah, it's mostly from these types of things. So we will watch out to see what happens here. Maybe I will have to make another dedicated video if there is to be some sort of rally on this thing. But I want to see a retracement that comes as low as this level right here, retesting this trend line that spans as far back as so. So USDT dominance, we have an interesting story. Now, overall, you could actually be on the position that this thing is going to break down like so. And you'd not be wrong about that. I mean, we had an ascending channel, we broke down from it. Naturally, you should be expecting that it comes as low as so. Yeah, so this would be, say, the first target actually of this breakdown structure. This would actually be the first target. So any retracement back up could potentially be a retest of this trend line right here. The dips are happening from this retracement back up from USDT's dominance. So that is basically my own thought process. Now, the ultimate target for USDT dominance would be this 2.618 right here, which is actually the bottom of the channel. Now, that will be extremely bullish for crypto. The worst case scenario is if USDT dominance can claim this trend line again and rally back up. Surpassing this high right here would be like Bitcoin going back below 15K. But the likelihood of that happening is very low, given that we've already broken down from here and had this candle as our confirmation candle. So we could very well retrace this candle and continue to dump. It would actually serve as a recipe for investors to buy the top of the bull market, because, you know, it would dump as low as so and give no chance for anybody to buy into their favorite altcoins and potentially buy into Bitcoin. Now, the reason why it even stopped right here, why we are having a crypto dump right now, is because of this 1.618 right here. You all know about my idea of the 1.618 move to 1.618 retracement to 0.786. If you apply that here, this will be the 1.618, and that's exactly where we topped at. Yeah, so the current dump that we see in crypto is because of this level right here. Now, ideally, you should have a general move back to the 0.786. Yes, this 0.786 right here. If this were to happen, it would be taking BTC as low as somewhere around 46, 45K. But on this particular chart, I would not really be on the idea that we retest this 0.786, because we had an impulse and already retested that 0.786 before going to the 1.618. So on this particular chart, I would be rooting for it to come as low as maybe 5% and go back to the upside. Upside here would mean downside, because this is an inverted chart. Yeah, I just put it like so that you can understand it quickly. So on this particular chart, I would be on the idea that this thing can go as high as this level right here, and then another move back to the downside like so. This move back to the downside could potentially form a double bottom right here. So if we do come back to this level, maybe in the next 2 weeks, then I will be looking to see what happens there. Because if we form a double bottom right here and move back to the upside, that will be powerful actually. So I want to see it move past this previous low right here to be on the idea that it will continue as low as this 2.5 level. Now remember, 2.5 level is actually the first target of this wedge pattern. Yeah, so it is actually at this level that I would be looking out to see what price Bitcoin will be at that time. There is another level actually. There is another 0.786 that I am looking for. So this is another zone that I'd be looking to see what happens when we do reach this level. This level could be potentially important for crypto, meaning that when the USDT dominance reaches this level, if it does reach this level, I will be looking to see what happens with Bitcoin then. Maybe that would put Bitcoin somewhere around 83,000, and I have a target around $83,000 Bitcoin to potentially de-risk myself from some trades. So yeah, that's it for USDT dominance. I am expecting a retracement back to the downside, even though it could potentially head up as high as 5%. I would like to see if we form a double bottom right here. If we form a double bottom right here, or we can go past this level. If we do go past that level, I would like to see if we can hold this one. But at this particular level, if we do reach it, I will most likely de-risk myself in a lot of coins. I'd like to see what happens here, but I will most likely de-risk myself here because this level will be like when Bitcoin reached 31,800. You guys remember the time I was talking about the first target on BTC from 22 or 21, yeah? It actually headed back down to 19. So I was saying that it's still going to go back up because the first target was 31,800. This level at 2.5 would be like going to that 31,800, and it will most likely cause a mega rally on USDT. So it's just something to watch out for. The ultimate target for USDT, which can also happen, and it's actually the reason why I keep saying that, hey, when I talk about de-risking, don't say, all right, I'll just sell off now, I'll sell everything and, buy back lower and make more money that way. If you do that with your long-term holdings, you risk missing out on the entire bull market. Because if you completely sell out of them in fear of, having a dump, you could potentially miss out because this thing would have been following my impulse to 1.618, retracement to 0.786, and another potential impulse to the 2.618. And this is usually very rapid. So these levels I talk about right here, I'll just be watching out to see what happens when we do reach them. But the idea is that this is the highest I can see for USDT dominance, and that would also be at the exact ultimate target of this channel. So that's it for USDT dominance. Let's look at Bitcoin dominance. So Bitcoin dominance is basically the same as as I told you in the Telegram. It has not broken to the downside and it has not broken to the upside. It's still lingering at this level right here. Now I have a rule of 3. When I see the first resistance right here, that's actually the first line. We have the second point right here, the third right here. Usually when I see a structure like so, let's say I see something that looks like this one, and we have another one that looks like so, and I see a move that comes, say, from here, and 1, 2, usually I would expect something that looks like so. So you have your 1 here, 2 and 3. Usually I would expect something that looks like so. It might as well just break to the upside like so, yeah? It's happened a lot of times, but usually I would expect that it retraces before moving to the upside. And that is what I would be expecting here. So we have the exact same thing, 2 and 3 right here. Usually I would expect some type of move like so. That move on Bitcoin dominance would be taking BTC dominance back down to somewhere between 48 to 46. Yeah, so that breakdown will be somewhere between 48 to 46. It could potentially go down as low as 44, but yeah, that's pretty much where I would expect that this thing should come back down to. Now, there is a chance that it just goes straight to the upside like so and just keeps all of us in the markets until next year, or say late this year, before we have, the mega rally in crypto. There's a chance that happens, and if that does happen, then I will just be buying into my altcoins. I'll just be buying into some of these coins. What I personally do is I have, some capital set aside for emergencies, and, like if we do have some type of mega bloodbath, then I will go now to, use my capital. But in the meantime, I have my other money that I've kept that I use to constantly dollar cost average into some coins, sell off some in a profit, and use the profit to buy into the dips. So basically that's my own philosophy around this thing. Just as we expected that Bitcoin would go to between 46 to 48k and potentially to 57.6k, is the exact same way that we would be expecting Bitcoin dominance to come as high as 58 to 59%, potentially going to 63%. Now, if we were to have some type of mega rally on Bitcoin dominance, then it could potentially go as this AB equals to CD pattern like so, which will put it somewhere around 76%. Now, that would be the worst case scenario, where this thing heads up as high as so before eventually having some type of move back to the downside. So as it goes higher, I will just be dollar cost averaging into some altcoins that I think are undervalued and can potentially give me high returns in the future. It does not mean that when you buy into some altcoin, it's just going to take off, yeah, and go straight up. No, it simply means that you have accepted that as you're buying into it, it can potentially head even lower, but you are prepared to sit through the red in order to see the green someday. Basically, that's my idea on Bitcoin dominance. Now, looking at BTC, we had a lot of levels on BTC, yeah? First, we had this level right here, right back from 22, 21 to 22k. We had this level right here saying that BTC is going to go up as high as 31.9. And then when BTC retraced, we were also saying that BTC will go as high as 46 to 47k, with a possibility to extend as high as 57.6k, somewhere around here. So this was actually the level that we were watching. We did not see BTC going as high as it has gone already. And yes, is the warning still there? Yes, the warning is still there. Yes, the warning of this ascending broadening wedge, it's still there. I mean, it's the same analysis that we're using for USDT dominance. What if it breaks down just like USDT dominance and goes for its maximum target? What if that happens? Yeah, so it's just still there. However, historically, after the Bitcoin halving, getting into the next year, post-halving, we'd have the bull market. Now, I don't really like having my ideas solely based on what has happened before and time basis, but simply you cannot argue with the history. Yeah, it's clear, it's there. So given the fact that Bitcoin went above its previous all-time high, which in my idea of the ascending broadening wedge would not actually happen, because the ascending broadening wedge would only stand true if this high did not go above this high. I made a video some time ago telling you that, I was wrong about the 3K theory, simply because I suspected that it could go above this high. And going above this high would not be still on the idea that it can go as low as this bottom right here. You could use the S&P, however, to still maintain this theory, but it simply wouldn't be wise to do that because, well, it's not the same chart. What if it decouples from the S&P? So simply what I have come to understand is that this thing is just going for my bull market targets. And if we even look at things like the diminishing returns over time, well, we can't be on the idea that it's going to 100,000 because of its diminishing returns. The diminishing return theory would actually put our top for the next bull market somewhere around 79 to about 83, 84. And I do have a target chart-wise to suggest a target of about 83, 84. So I am just on the idea that this thing is going for my bull market scenario targets. It does not mean that BTC will never retrace back down again. Of course, we can come back as low as 32 and retest this neckline right here. That is possible. Yeah. Of course, we can come back as low as so before taking off. We can also come back as low as this level right here, somewhere around 546, and go to the upside. That will be like the USDT chart going back as low as the 0.786 before heading up to the 2.618. That would just be like USDT dominance going back as high as so before going back down like so. So if this thing goes back right as low as this 0.786 like so and successfully breaks down right here, it would be the equivalent of Bitcoin coming back as low as this level, somewhere around 46 to 45 before heading higher. So I did show you some theories on the Discord and on Telegram. One of the theories was on the idea that Bitcoin can go up as high as 83 before retracing back to the downside. Another theory suggests that Bitcoin can go up as high as 96 actually. But then I found another theory that could actually pose, you know, the idea that BTC may be coming back as low as this 45k region right here. This would actually suggest that Bitcoin comes back as low as here, but I'm not so confident in it. I will be doing another update, another quick update on BTC intraday to suggest where it could possibly go. But for now, just know that we can come as low as so on the macro side of things. In the intraday, BTC can potentially head up as high as the 0.618 right here. I gave you a target in the Discord. That target heads back as high as 66, actually, somewhere around 66k. That's 66k region, 66.3 actually. So this level right here, 65 to 66, 65 to 66. Yes, it would be around this level right here. This is the level that I will be watching to see what happens when BTC gets to. If we can reclaim back this level, which means that we can come back as high as so, maybe, let me give you a better way to follow this. We can come as high as so, maybe come back as low as 64, go back to 66. Now, I would again expect us to come back to the 236 right here. Coming back to this 236 and going back here, if we do go back here after a retest of this, which means that we've gone up and came back down to retest this level. If that does happen and we create a higher low like so, then yeah, I would be on the idea that we go even way higher than this high right here. We will be watching to see what happens with this one here. Now, on the monthly time frame, we are actually witnessing a shooting star. It's similar to this, and it's somewhat, this is a hanging man right here, but it's similar to this one. If we close the monthly like so, yeah, that will not be good. If we can close the monthly like so, that will not be good because, well, we have the overvalued stochastic right there. It is inevitable that we will again have some type of mega drop on BTC. Mega drop as in 45k, potentially the 30s, the higher 30s. Yeah, it is possible. Of course, we could always have some type of doomsday and it goes even way lower, but I'm giving you shorter targets here that have a higher chance of being met. So we'll just be watching out to see what happens. But this is not good, if I'm being honest. This move right here, it's not good. Now on the weekly right here, we have an evening star, and we have 4 days to go for this weekly candle to close. After 4 days, if this week closes in the red like so, it will not be good for crypto. Well, because you can potentially have a retracement of that weekly candle. We will make more updates to this. And if you want shorter updates, just like intraday updates, like this video and let me know in the comments as well, so that I can make like in the moment updates. Maybe I can turn my forecasts into videos as well and make you very short videos to keep you in the know as to what is happening in the markets. But again, I will be watching to see what happens because I can't really suggest that this was the ultimate top. I would actually be on the idea that we go higher than this. So again, we will be watching to see what happens. We will have to update on this later. But yeah, there are warning signs. There are real warning signs. Even here, we can also see a bearish divergence. Yeah, bearish divergence. That looks like someone with glasses and a nose and mouth here smiling at us. So yeah, we will watch to see what happens here, because even this bearish divergence right here would mean that we come back as low as the 40s, the mid 40s. Yeah, this bearish divergence would actually mean that we come back as low as that. So that is possible, but not certain that we do that. Yeah, we might as well just consolidate here and head back to the upside. That will punish a lot of people who are just waiting for the best prices. So we will have another update on this on the intraday to analyze on where we are actually going. Now we can see that total 3 hit the 2.618 to 3 fib level right here, and ideally from this level we should potentially come back as low as the 1.618. However, with what I have noticed with this current market, we tend to go as high as the 4.618. In 2023, this was basically showing up to be the top in most of the altcoins. Solana, it was the top for Solana, it was the top for BNB, was the top for Polygon Matic, was the top for this was MakerDAO, which I signaled about, was the top for a lot of altcoins. But in this current market cycle, I find that we go as high as the 4.618. There is still a chance that we have a move that extends as high as the 4.618 right here, and potentially putting in a higher high than this high right here in the total three in the altcoin market. Now, I would really like to see this happen. This was the first right here, this was the second drop, and this was the third big move that extended into this accumulation right here. So I would like to see us come back to start correcting this move right here, correct this one, and potentially correct this one. Even just correcting this one will be good enough to show that we are actually correcting the big trend to the downside. If this does not happen, I will be concerned. Yeah, if we don't come back to correct this one. That's if we don't go above this high, I will be concerned. And going back above this high, considering the fact that Bitcoin has already put in a new all-time high, yeah, that could be a recipe for this thing to go as high as the $1 trillion level right here. If you remember, just the other day, I showed you Jupe. I did show you that Jupe should go as high as $1, yeah? And Jupe is a coin that I was talking about relentlessly. I spoke about this coin, showed you charts, showing you that this thing is going to go up as high as so, telling you that it's a good coin to accumulate for the long term. It plummeted, yeah? I started showing you Jupe around here. Somewhere, yeah, I started showing you Jupe around here. That this move right here could serve as a double bottom for this thing. It extended to the downside. It even came here. I was still telling you about this Jupe thing. And I was telling you that, hey, this thing looks good. This thing looks good. I de-risked it. I told you that, okay, it's time to sell off for a 3% profit for trading purposes. Yeah, because, and the real reason why I do that is because when I talk about some project, yeah, when I talk about any project whatsoever, and, you know, it goes to the downside first, I get so many DMs. You can't even believe how many DMs I get. I get so many DMs of people telling me, bro, I invested into that coin and invested a lot of money into that coin. Do you still think it's going to go up? What are your updates to that coin? You still believe in it? It's always like that. I mean, like I tell you, even before, you know, showing you the potential move to the upside, I tell you that this thing can still dump. Even when I made the video with LRC, before it doubled, I told you about LRC at 31 cents. And I told you that it can potentially retrace as low as 27 and even 24. At the back of my mind, I was prepared for 20 and it retraced to 21. Now, when it did go to the downside, a lot of people came to my DMs. You still think LRC? Are you really sure it's going to? It puts me in a position where I don't even like showing some of these coins that can potentially do well, because, you know, I just get so many, you know, people that are emotional about investing coming to bother me about, you know, the coins going to the downside. And I mean, like, I don't see why I should be doing such, I should be putting myself in such situations. So yeah, that was that for Jupe, and Jupe did well. I mean, it's still up from that level, and I was telling you that this is a good coin for the long term. If you accumulated down here, if you accumulated Jupe, and I told you that below 53, that Jupe remains undervalued below 53%, below that level, because this thing can go up. I got some trolls, you know, on Twitter telling me that I bought into that Jupe, it's not moving, it keeps dumping, and it keeps remaining in the same place. It's all about patience, people. It's patience, being able to stomach this volatility. When we look back right now, you don't see what this wick right here cost some people. This was the accumulation zone right here. You see the mega move to the upside. Now, the other day I showed you a chart telling you that my analysis for Jupe ends here, and I was showing you with this arrow right here, like so. So the same reason why I expected Jupe to go back as high as here, where I said my analysis ends here, is the exact same reason why I think Total 3 can potentially still go back as high as the $1 trillion level right here. That is basically why I am buying into dips, people. I know that this thing can go as low as this level, and I'm just saying this clearly here on the channel, because when I talk about, you know, potential low targets, which I emphasize that I'm saying this so that we are all mentally prepared. Don't just wake up someday and see your coins down by 40% and just be like, oh, Vay, what happened to the crypto markets? Why did they dump? I'm just telling you some of these potential levels just so that you are prepared for the worst. Yeah, just so that you're prepared. But it does not mean that you sit aside and buy nothing. But again, we can potentially retrace back as low as so if USDT dominance is to retrace the 0.786 level. If we are going to have USDT dominance go back as low as this 0.786 level right here, that would be yeah, that to me that would be the ultimate zone to buy. I may actually go in as go right into my my emergency capital to buy the dips that will be available if that did happen. So there you go, people. That's basically my update. I hope this video was not too long. Oh my god, it's too long. If there is to be some sort of mega crash, it will not be exclusive to the crypto markets. So my crash scenario, my big crash scenario would have to also be with markets like the S&P 500, and as of now I simply do not have analysis to suggest that we have topped in the markets generally. Actually, I've bought into some dips, and currently I am not buying any dips because, well, we've already dipped as hard as I thought we would. Maybe we do extend as low as 60 and potentially the 58 to 57k region on BTC, but that's as low as I think we could go in the short term. If we do have a bigger crash down to somewhere around 45, then I may consider buying again. And from there, I would expect USDT dominance to be at the 0.786. If it's not there yet, then, well, if we do dip again, I will buy again, because eventually we will have a bigger rally in all of these things, and yeah, I want to accumulate as much as possible before that time comes. Thanks so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what coins you are looking into. Maybe I will include in my next update. But until the next one, stay safe.